Hello, welcome to the 22nd day of November 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a live video exercise that I do every morning at 5:30 a.m. to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met. I go over my creed and I prepare for death. I also want to say thank you to my YouTube supporters and my Patreon members. Your support means a lot to me. I do talk about sensitive subjects, so just be forewarned. And this is a private public diary, so I have latitude to talk about any subject I like for as long or as short as I like. Lately, it's been rather short. Get through the script rather quickly. It's interesting how that comes in cycles. Let's see, let's get started. Looking at my notes for the last 24 hours, I'd only have one note here, which is peace returning. I think that's because I'm in a soft spot now with the two big things that are happening in my life: the situation back in the United States and the Project 2026. The situation could resume its challenges at any moment, but distance of activity, kind of the silence of no activity, kind of softens the experience a little bit. And then Project 2026 seems to be well in hand. I need to wait. Still waiting for that package to arrive at the bank. So that's a little tracking slip right up there. We'll probably check that on Monday, see how that's going. Otherwise, that's about it. There was something I wanted to do today. Oh, yeah, that's right. I got the we back home in the United States. We have a like a discount shop supermarket called Costco, and I was a regular Costco member before, and you get like cashback rewards. And I just got to notice that I got like $400 waiting for me with Costco. Should try to redeem that and see if I can get that somehow redeemed into my bank account or something. I'll figure that out. That's something I'll do that today after this. Costco. So I need to do two things: buy candles and Costco redemption. Sounds significant. Costco redemption. Last 24 hours, so then the peace is returning. The pocket change anxiety that was been haunting me for 3 weeks is going away now. I won't count this as a win on my part. It's not that I, well, a slight win. It's the better feeling is definitely a consequence of some winnable activities. I mean, win worthy activities that I can attribute to my own efforts, the efforts that I've made to overcome the challenges. No, now I say that the efforts that I've made to improve my circumstances and my what I call it the bridge to 2000, the bridge to Social Security. The efforts that I've made to get there um, are are the things that are bringing about the peace with regard to Project 2026. And then for the situation back in the States, that's nothing more than readiness and peace that comes because there's um, the peace that comes with readiness and the fact that nothing really is going on over there. Although I will add some information here. Let's kind of put this under the heading of retiring in Japan. Retiring in Japan. Let me make a couple of retirement footnotes here that might be of interest. Some things that uh, we discovered in the last couple of weeks that are very interesting. For one, okay, the first one was we discovered quite astonishingly that my wife is eligible for retirement, a pension from Japan, as well as a pension from the United States. Well, wow, 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 wow. We didn't realize that she had got there. And how do we figure that out? Well, the Japanese government reached out to her and said, "Hey, you're eligible for a pension." And so it looks like she'll be. Uh, I wouldn't want to call it double dipping because it's not, right? I mean, she paid into both systems, right? And she's eligible for pension on both systems. Now, from the technical perspective of how that works out between, I mean, I'm going to use Japan and the United States because that's the case study here. Japan and the United States have what's called a totalization agreement. for social security, their country's respective social securities. And the long and short of the totalization agreement simply means that the idea is that within a particular country, you work and you earn credits for every year that you work. Actually, within a year, you get credits each quarter, basically. In the United States, at least, you earn a credit, and you need in the United States you need 20 credits to be eligible for Social Security come age 62, 65, 67, whatever you choose to 70, whatever you choose to pull the trigger after 62. To get 20 credits, you need about 10 years of work total to put into it, and you're eligible for Social Security in the United States. So Yumiko and I are both eligible for that. We've worked plenty over in the United States. What we didn't know was that we were also eligible. Yumiko was also eligible for Social Security here in Japan. Now the thing is, the totalization agreement. Now you might be thinking, so well, you can't double dip. You can't get benefits from both countries. Yes, you can, but what you can't do is what you can't do, well, no, it's not, that's not the right word. That's not the right verbiage. The totalization agreement between Japan and the United States allows credits to be moved from one country or the other. So say, for example, you're in a situation and you have 18 credits earned in the United States. You're 2 credits away from eligibility for Social Security and you're age 62. Well, you need another 2 credits. Well, one thing you could do is you could work in basically a half a year to earn those 2 credits. I may be a little bit off on the amount of time it would take. Or if you had worked some time in Japan, you could reach over to Japan and say, hey, give me my credits from Japan and bring them over to the United States to fill in the gaps. So let's say you earned 5 credits in Japan. You could reach over, grab those 5 credits. Now you've got 23 credits in the United States and you're eligible and you can do it. See, that's a very nice system that they have between the countries for people who might split their careers, split their working lives between the 2 countries to make sure that they don't miss out on the opportunity to get a pension from the government. But if you don't need to pull those credits over, you can use them and apply them in the other country. Now, if you're like Yumiko and you've worked enough on both sides to earn a pension on both sides, well, guess what? You get both. You get both pensions. So we discovered about 2 weeks ago that that was the case when the Japanese government reached out and said, "Hey, it's time." We're like, "Whoa, okay, it's time." So that's good. So that was one thing to add to the retiring in Japan scenario. The other one was Yumiko, now that we're very close, we're within half a year now of pulling the trigger on our American Social Securities. Um, I knew that there was something to do with spousal Social Security, but I didn't quite understand it. I think I understand it now better. Now, Yumiko is I was the primary breadwinner for our family, so my Social Security is the more robust one. So my Social Security, Yumiko's is ample, but not nearly as robust as mine. Now, it turns out the United States does have a solution for spouses. You don't even have to contribute. So basically, let's say, for example, Yumiko had never worked in the United States, had been a mother and a homemaker, her whole adult life. She's still eligible for a retirement, and it's pretty damn generous. It's about half of mine. So let's say, for example, that I have a retirement and I earn a certain amount of money per month is my retirement benefit. Yumiko gets basically half that. Pretty nice, huh? So what I learned further was that when we retire, when Yumiko pulls the trigger, Social Security Administration will look at her benefit and say, well, okay, well, she worked, she had enough credits to earn her own pension, but she was also married to this guy, Kurt. And they'll remember I just told you how it's like half of mine, and they'll look at mine and say, well, it's half of that. And then they'll take whichever is higher and they'll give it to my wife. But it's better than that, even. Let's say, for example, that Yumiko and I decide to pull it to retire and live on my Social Security from age 62. I'll retire early, so to speak, at 62, and Yumiko will not pull the trigger for her retirement until age 67, which is the age of full retirement. Well, I pulled the trigger at 62, which means I take a lower pension, so from Social Security. But Yumiko waits until 67. Guess what? Her retirement is not based on my age 62 pension. Her retirement is based on my age 67 full retirement pension. How generous is that? Wow. So they don't penalize the spouse for the early retirement of the primary breadwinner, of the primary um, pensioner in this system. The more and more I look into the United States Social Security system as potentially insoluble, as insolvent as it may, as what's the word? As many problems as it may have, keeping remaining solvent into the future, which I'm sure we'll figure out. It is a very well thought out and architected system, may even to the point that the spouse who decides to hold off on getting her or his social security as a spousal social security, is not penalized should the primary social security recipient receive theirs at age 62. Bravo, United States of America! Good job figuring out this system. Japan, I think, is basically identical to that. Very interesting. So that was a lot of work, and I'll tell you that adds to some of the peace that comes of the peace returning, right? The sense that, I mean, it's a really good state of, ah, it's a really good feeling to know that we're 6 months away from full retirement, and we'll get there. And plus, they have robust options and benefits in place via the both the American and the Japanese social security systems. The main thing now, of course, is to stay healthy so that we can enjoy these benefits as long as possible. Okay, so let's go over my creed, which consists of 8 objectives and 35 principles. My 8 objectives are: number one, to be always ready to die at all times, having my affairs, my relationships, and my life's work in order. Number two, to make good and effective use of my time so that I'm not wasting my days. Oh boy, am I stumbling into, not stumbling, I am deliberately, there's no stumbling involved. I am making very good use of my time lately in the mornings. Um, After breakfast every morning, I put on my garden outfit and I go out and I spend my time in the garden. And it is just, oh guys, it is just astonishingly pleasant. The Now that we're in winter, the Shizuoka is a very mild climate here. We don't get snow in the city. It's just very peaceful and mild. And when the sun comes up, and it's had an hour after the sun's been up, and just fiddling around in the garden, I've got Rudy for my dog, for his little stroller, and he sits in there, and he's nice and warm, and I garden and I weed and I do things and I'm landscaping, and it's I mean it's the thing that I always imagined retirement might be, is when I'm in the garden like that. It's truly quite astonishing. So I'm adding that because it's like I feel like I've arrived. This is what I could literally spend the rest of my life doing. I've been doing it now every day for about a week. And it's the I stopped making videos on YouTube, retiring to Japan videos, and I kind of even stopped making it, even desiring to. It's just the high point of my day now is just putting on my garden gear and strapping my clippers on the back on my waist, and going with my dog into the yard and spending the morning there. It's really really nice. I did think though that maybe what I would do is set this camera up, um, just to let the live camera run in the garden with me on the tripod that it's sitting on now. Just sit there and soak up the ambience, and just a nice big frame with me off in the distance doing a little garden work, so people that want to can sit and enjoy it with me. You won't be able to talk to me because I'll be off in the distance gardening, but at least those that might want to have a little bit of break from whatever they're doing can come and sit with me in my yard. That might be what I try. I might try that today. So that was under the heading of objective number two, making good and effective use of time. Objective number three is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, principles that are and objectives that are good in the developed in the direction of virtue, and sound, and not being corrupted in some way by or hollow and without good utility. And those are outlined in Going Alone in the chapter titled The Good Life, which, thanks to my YouTube supporters and my Patreon members, I'm able to provide to you free of charge. Well, no one would pay for it, but I'm able to provide to you without paying it myself, because my Patreon supporters and my YouTube members basically allow me to pay the website fees through their contributions. Thank you very much. And it's not cheap. $400 a month for that thing. Thank you. Number four is to cultivate good emotional reactions so that I respond well to difficult circumstances. Five is to perform good actions relative to my values. Number six is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities so I know the scope of my capabilities. Number seven is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number eight is to maintain my balance, which is a natural resultant consequence of attendance and pursuit of the first seven objectives. As for today's principle to read, let's read. Let me hold on just a second. Let me light another candle. My one candle went out, but I need a little more light. Today I'll read the principle of purpose, principle number 4 on page 255 of the hardbound edition of Going Alone. Boy, dim light. Principle. Oh, here comes Ollie. Hold on. Which is always a production. Hold on. I heard Ollie calling coming. Sorry, Rudy, I woke you up. Okay, now let's see if I can figure out how to read this in this dim light. And this might work right here. Here we go. The principle of purpose, sub-principles, biology, duty, virtue, and mission. And then a quote from Dr. Zimmerman. Here we go. Here's the quote. Active in indolence, abroad who roam, in quest of happiness which dwells at home, with vain pursuits fatigued, at length will find in real dwellings, its real dwelling is a virtuous mind. Taking a little more from Emerson's comments about the wise man stays at home, right? And Dr. Zimmerman presents a further suggestion that that peace can be found not just at home, but in the mind. For me, I'll add a little bit from my own perspective, gentlemen, and say, gentlemen being Dr. Zimmerman and Ralph Waldo Emerson, that maybe that, at least in my case, is in my garden. I have never known any peace quite like the peace of spending time in my garden. Wow. Although walking the dog in the afternoon, we call it a strolly, is a very nice thing as well. My first purpose is to live and reproduce before then dying and getting the hell out of the way. I will also perform my duty, 30 years of life dedicated to improved societal ends, as well as 25 years of service to my kid, which, that's hard to read, which work is largely complete when she is done with school. Beyond that, it is up to each of us to decide what our own personal purpose will be. For myself, I select the pursuit of virtue, where virtue is defined as a life lived in furtherance of the well-being of thinking things. And my mission is the series of goals I set for myself to achieve over the successive years of my life. Look at this candle going nuts. So the principle of purpose, then, the sub principles being biology, for purpose is first and foremost the reproduction of ourselves. That's our biological mandate. You don't have to do it, but biological rewards us amply for that. Duty, whatever we swear our allegiance to. Virtue, which is, of course, in my worldview, the epitome, the height of ambition and good living. Where virtue is defined as the improvement, seeking after the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures. And then a mission, whatever mission we choose to accept and onboard into our lives. Look at little Rudy's ears there. Rudy. All right. Wow, that's really, make sure that's not hot. Isn't this the coolest old antique candle holder I got? I love that. All of these candle holders I've got are antiques. It's something I've been buying at the flea market. Okay, let's go ahead and read the comments. It feels like I'm at a campfire. Uh, Sarah Atwell, XF5HR. Hello, Sarah. Good morning, Kurt. Enjoy the moment of peace. You have earned it. Thank you very much, Sarah. I appreciate that. Hello, Robert. Robert says, hi, Kurt. Currently 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 74% humidity with an air quality index of 57 in Napanee, Ontario, Canada. I learned, Robert, that apparently your air quality is really good, that anything below 100 is good. That after 100, it gets kind of iffy. So it sounds like you've got very good air where you live. Robert says hello to Sarah. Tim, hi Tim. Tim says good morning. Weather check for the UK at 8:37 p.m. is 2.1 degrees Celsius. It's gotten a little warmer, and 87% humidity. Another blue skies, cold, crisp, sunny day. Nice. Um, Evelyn, hi Evelyn, says hello to myself, Tim, Sarah, Robert. It's 6 degrees and 87% humidity in Bologna, Italy, in our remaining few days in Bologna, Italy, before hopefully we'll get some reports from Greece. Tim says hi to Evelyn and Robert. Robert says hello to Tim and Evelyn. Michael Littlejohns says hello. Hi, Michael. Robert says hi to Michael Littlejohns. And Sarah says, good morning, Robert, Tim, Evelyn, Michael. A wave. Tim says hi to Sarah. Robert says hi to Sarah. Tim says, always spend an hour or two daily in the garden pottering. Even today at -1, it's like your very own reflective sanctuary. I'm discovering that that's the case, Tim. You're absolutely right. It is absolutely, it is a peace and a pleasantness that is transcendental, if I can use that word. I've never known anything quite like it. I've never had really I've had gardens in the past, but I've never had gardens that I could sit in with um, such immersion. I think that's not the word. Something that's sitting in sitting in a garden in retirement is different than its lack of distraction. You know, when I was a working man, if I sat in the little garden that I had, it always felt like it was an aside. It was something different. But now it feels more determined. It feels more deliberate. Patrick, hi Patrick, hi Softy P and everyone. Wishing all a great day, Kurt. Great day, Kurt. Kurt, no, here we go. Wishing all a great day, Kurt. I caught part of a live office hours recently. You field some very heavy stuff with great grace. You're a good dude. Oh, thank you very much. I was thinking about that this morning actually because I'm planning to do let the camera run, and then I also have my office hours from 10 to 10:30, and every time I've done that, it's had very interesting and good results when people come in because we talk, and I tell people, hey, it's being recorded, and they seem to be okay, and then it ends up with an interesting bit of video. Thank you for that feedback, Patrick Fox. I appreciate that. Patrick goes way back in my YouTube world. Robert says hi to Patrick. Evelyn says hi to Michael and Patrick. Sarah says, it sounds like the true joy of retirement is not feeling obligated to do anything and figuring out what you want to do with your time, to try a few things out, no pressure to find your own pace. I think you summed it up. Robert says hello, says to at Sarah, Robert is commenting at Sarah, saying, I did have the advantage of finding great purpose in other activities before retirement, which continue to evolve in their own way. Jim Jam Birds. Hey, Jim Jam Birds. Good to see you. Hi, everyone. They say, he says. Sarah says, I think that's probably great preparation advice for retirement or for life in general, Robert. Having found those things you enjoy spending your time on, you don't feel so overwhelmed when all of a sudden you have all this time. I can imagine it would feel a bit overwhelming. I agree with all that. Jim Jam Bird says, sorry I missed most of the live today. Hope you're all doing well. Kurt, did the steps get cleared up by the rain? No rain yet, but the steps are all cleared. Um, Jim Jam Birds joined me a few days ago when I was cleaning the steps up to the rice field. And I'm waiting for a nice rainstorm to come through to clear all the dirt out and make them nice and steppable. But they look really good though, Jim Jam Birds. Jamie, that is. Robert says hi to Jim Jam Birds. But Robert says, song memory triggered Working Man by Rush. There you go. A very good song. Tim says, we'll be losing the colder weather this weekend. Forecast warmer and wetter. My heating bill will feel the better for it. Nice. Look at speaking of a heating bill, I don't think I have to worry so much about the heating bill with that. That's more of a campfire than a candle flame. I think it's because it pulled all the the candle melted and it pooled up at the bottom there. It became a pool of oil. Isn't that interesting? It's an antique. Isn't this beautiful? It's an antique candle holder that I bought. Japanese candle holder. I bought it at a flea market for $3. All this worked metal. I love it. I add it to the collection of antique candle holders that I have here. Tim says, great thing in the garden today was being followed everywhere by a robin, daring to get closer and closer. LOL. Lovely making friends with it. Very nice. For my part, yesterday, Tim, I had an encounter with a giant Japanese centipede. I think your robin certainly prevails when it comes to on the friend scale, right, rather than my giant centipede. All right, everybody. Well, that's it for today. I wish everybody all the best. Thinking about everybody, and as we finish one week, and head through the respite of Saturday and Sunday, and off to the next one. I hope that everybody has a peaceful weekend, and that you're safe. But if you choose, not too safe. As for myself, tonight I will die in my sleep. Take care.